Hello, everyone. This is Sharon Heller with Network in Action in Denver. And I'm here with one of our Network in Action members, Bill Landow with SpeedPro Premier. Hi, Bill.
Hello, Sharon. How are you?
Great to have you today.
Thanks. I appreciate you putting this together.
Yeah. Can you share with all of us a little bit more about SpeedPro Premier and what you all are up to?
Certainly. I am a franchise owner. My location happens to be in Southeast Denver, but we service, all over Colorado and other states. And we are a large format printer, which means nothing to most folks. So I like to tell people we make signs of all kinds. And, signs big and bold and powerful, help convey marketing messages and brand propositions. So that's what we like to, help out with.
Yeah, good. And, we're in this unique time period about, 5 weeks or so into COVID-19. And as business owners, we're all being affected and our customers are being affected in so many different ways. Can you share a little bit about how you're noticing your customers being affected the most?
Certainly. I think, the big word is apprehension and uncertainty. So when we first saw it hit, it sort of came in waves, what was being shut down from the county level to the state level. And I think a lot of businesses, what we saw was a little uncertainty of what does this mean for my business and how are we going to adapt? And then you see these other phases of, okay, now we're starting to get used to things a little bit. But for the sign business, what we kind of came across was folks weren't necessarily terribly interested in signs if people weren't outside to see the signs, which completely makes sense. But now that we're starting to see things gradually loosen up, I think signs become now more important than ever.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about that, how you have been able to help business owners during this time and why signs are especially important during this next phase of reopening?
Yeah, for sure. Even that first week, what we noticed, there were a number of restaurants that were remaining open for carry out, takeout, and delivery, but you didn't know. And so you saw, a lot of handwritten signs where possible, even from major chains. Their employees were using the back of a paper plate to tape up into the window to say, well, yes, we are open. And I think, there was, again, that early phase, nobody knew how long this would go. And so, the back of a paper plate completely made sense. Mm-hmm. What we started doing was making up some just real generic carry out available 2-foot by 4-foot banners with grommets in the corners. And I took, a lot of them out to the community restaurants, looking largely at mom and pops who may not have marketing budgets, and just handing them to them and saying, here. And oh my gosh, the looks on their faces, they were just like, whoa, what do I owe you? And I was like, nothing, just persevere, right? Because empty retail spaces at the end of this don't do us any good. So if I can do just a little bit to help these guys, sell an extra, dinner or something like that, it's totally worth it, in the long run.
Yeah, that's incredible. And what about as businesses are reopening? I know for me, if I'm out doing an errand or I had to go to the bank the other day and I was starting to wonder, what's going to be open, what's not. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of signs kind of during this next phase of kind of transition and this staggered reopening?
Right. As Colorado is slowly, peeking out the window and, maybe testing the waters a little bit, there is that uncertainty. And this is the best way for business owners to let people know they're open, is with a sign, right? So let's get a feather banner in front and have it waving around. Let's get, a regular banner. Let's put some signs in the windows. Let's let people know, yes, we are open, because most folks aren't going to get out of the car unless they know for sure that, that this business is open.
Right. And then what about for customers to know what to expect when they go inside. I had a friend who was at a major retailer a couple days ago, and she was pretty distraught to see that most of the customers, hardly any, had masks on. The workers had gloves on, but she didn't feel very safe in that environment because there didn't seem to be any guidelines.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? There's sort of a culture that varies from business to business as far as what that business is comfortable with. And while the governor of Colorado has, said everybody should be wearing masks when they're out in public, that really hasn't. There's nothing really enforceable about that, and so it becomes the business's responsibility to make that known. Looking ahead, I think that's only going to be a bigger issue, because who knows how long this is going to go on, and who knows where this goes from here. So what we've developed is some 8-inch round stickers that have an icon of a mask, and it says, please wear your mask when coming into this store. And we also have a version with masks and gloves, because you don't know, is this business comfortable with masks? Are they comfortable with masks and gloves? So here's an opportunity for them to put that on their front door, so when customers get ready to walk in, they can mask up and go on in, and then everybody's at ease. And the mask notion, right, it's for your own protection, but it's for the protection of others as well. So there is a little bit of a, responsibility, for people who are willing to go out to abide.
Yeah, I love that. And I can tell you, as a customer, I would feel so much more comfortable walking into a business, and knowing what their expectations are. And then, being able to kind of satisfy my responsibility as a customer walking into that place of business. So
certainly, yeah, nobody's doing it because they don't care. I think they're just doing it because they don't know.
Right.
And so
right.
if we can let them know with a sign, problem solved.
Yeah. And what about car wraps? Why might those be helpful during this kind of period of time?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good question, because we've had a lot of our tradesmen, plumbers, electricians, things like that, who aren't getting the same number of calls they were getting before, and now they have vehicles that are parked. And so we're looking at this, and they're looking at this as an opportunity to bring some of those vehicles in to get the graphics refreshed, as long as they're sitting idle, and they can rotate those vehicles through and get ready for the summer, if they're looking to refresh their look, or if they've got some that are a little more dingy than they used to be. So that's been big. And then kind of going along with that, these offices that are largely empty right now, we just put up the name of a business up on a wall. We've done some interior graphics, a big huge mural that with employees walking around would have been logistically challenging to accommodate. But these spaces are open now, so it makes it a really good time to freshen up the looks of these interiors as well.
Yeah, agreed. And I also love the sign that's behind you. I know we're spending a lot of time on Zoom these days, which is probably going to continue. So can you share a little bit about what you created?
Yeah, I found myself the first week of this on camera a lot more than I ever expected I would be. And just being a marketer at heart, I was like, let's go where the attention is. And if people are staring at Zoom screens, let's maximize the opportunity to get our brand in front of them, and our sales proposition too. Here's what we do. Here's how to do it. Here's how to find us. So it's certainly self-serving, but for all the hours that you're on these calls with folks, make that association, because business is largely relationship based, and you think of the face and then you think of the brand. It's like, oh yeah, that guy does this. So I'm seeing it as a fine opportunity, and encouraging as many people to order something as possible.
Yeah, agreed. So Bill, if folks want to get in touch with you and just kind of brainstorm and explore what out of what you offer might be great benefit for them, what's a great way for them to reach out to you?
Anything from hitting my website. There's a request quote that the email comes right to me. We're a pretty small operation, so we all kind of know what's going on all the time. And all these, my cell phone number, all my phones ring to my cell phone these days. So since I can't always be in the office, so that works out really well, which is on the website as well. But what's really cool that I want to mention before we wrap up is, in an unprecedented move, our franchisor created an e-commerce site for us, and folks can go to my site and hit that e-commerce link and order COVID-19 materials. So whether it's posters or distance dots or the stickers I was talking about earlier for the front doors, we even do face shields and things like that, because we deal in acrylics, so we can fabricate those. So as these offices are reopening and maybe they've got a cubicle farm, we can do dividers between those. And much of this and more is available on the e-commerce site. Just click and go to your cart and check out, and we get going.
Oh, fantastic. I didn't even know that you offered several of those things. So good. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was great talking with you. I encourage any of you viewers out there to reach out to Bill and SpeedPro and get your signage needs taken care of. Thank you, Bill.
You bet. Thank you, Sharon. Stay
All
well.
right. Take care.